These are the plays that are going to make you the most money today. This is the Daily Profit brought to you by Linemaker Sports. Today's show, we're going to go through some of the highest probabilities in the NBA, and also we're going to talk about what happened this past weekend. So let's hop over to the whiteboard and let's get right into it. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this weekend. All right, let's talk about on the 8th. All right, first thing in UFC, we had, I like to call him Bobby Green. He changed his name to King Green. I don't know why. But we had Bobby Green versus Ruffy to not go the distance. All right. So what that means, a lot of people ask, like, what does this mean in UFC? This means that the fight's not going to go the 3 rounds. Okay. So they ended up, this ended in the first round with a crazy knockout, to be honest. Green got knocked out with pretty much I don't even know what you call that, roundhouse, maybe, right to the back of the head. Completely knocked him out. So we ended up hitting that one. Then we go to the prop plays here. We had Kucherov for the NHL to go over 0.5 points. He had an 86% probability, and Tampa let us down there. All right, Tampa didn't even score. They absolutely got goose egged. So we ended up not getting that one. All right. Then we moved on to the NBA, where we had Scotty Barnes go over 30 plus points, rebounds, and assists. Weird what happened in this game. He started out very hot. He had like 14 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. He had 16 PRA in the first quarter. And then as the game gradually went on, he wasn't playing too well. But then the fourth quarter came and it was kind of a close game. They were keeping it close, and they kept him out the last 8 minutes of the game. No idea why. But he ended up with 24 points, rebounds, and assists. And he really didn't have the opportunity to get to 30 plus because they kept him out pretty much the whole fourth quarter. So we ended up taking an L on that play. All right, now let's move on to Sunday. Sunday we had NASCAR. So a lot of people like to think that I just do the player props, but we do a lot of other stuff too. Okay, just like the UFC and also NASCAR. Okay, so what we had here was Toyota, the manufacturer, to win. Okay, now what we like to do here sometimes is we split it up. So we had like Toyota and Chevy both to win, both at plus money, because like this one right here, for example, this was like plus 250. Okay, you mix that up with Chevy as well, it's at like plus 155. As long as one of those come in, you guarantee yourself a profit. Okay, so that is part of a NASCAR strategy that we do. Okay, so Toyota ended up winning. Christopher Bell ended up winning his 3rd straight race, so we ended up hitting that one. All right, then we also had Giannis, which was kind of a steal if you've seen it early on in the day. All right, we had Giannis to go over 40 plus PRA. Now again, this had an 86% probability, and this line was out early in the day, and I seen it, was wondering maybe if there was a minutes restriction, the reason why they had a number so low. They usually don't have Giannis available at 40 plus, but they ended up having him at 40 plus, and to be honest with you, it was kind of right on where it should have been, because he had a first 3 quarters were pretty good, and at the end of the 3rd quarter he had 37 PRA, so this looked easy. It looked like he was going to just smash that number. Then the Bucks got really exploited in the 4th quarter and really didn't do much. And Giannis didn't do too much either, literally until like the last 3 minutes of the game. He was stuck at 37 PRA until the last 3 minutes of the game. And then he ended up grabbing a rebound, getting a putback, and then grabbing another rebound. He ended up with 41 points, rebounds, and assists. So he barely ended up getting the win for us there. All right, so those ones were a little bit rough for Giannis there. I thought he would surpass that easily, but we still got the win there. The Toyota, we got the win, and then the Bobby Green fight, we ended up getting the win there. But we took the L's on some high probability plays here for Kucherov and Barnes. All right, but overall, again, we talk about the F-bombs. So the F-bombs actually been on a little bit of a decline, obviously, because we won every single one to start the year for the first 2 months. So they ended up going on a decline a little bit here. Okay, so the F-bombs so far this year now are 73 and 19. All right, so they're 73 and 19 so far in this year. Not too bad, obviously, right? Not too bad, but a little bit of a regression from starting the year off and not missing one of those for 2 straight months. So obviously that's going to come down. That's just the way that it goes. All right, but overall for the weekend, kind of wasn't that great. All right, it was a little bit of an off weekend, but the weekends always tend to be like that. That's what's funny is I like to tell sports bettors that a lot. Is a lot of sports bettors wait till the weekend just to bet and to do stuff. The weekend's usually the worst time because that's when the lines are really critiqued and it's very hard to find value and find an edge. And you usually on the weekends are going to occur some losses rather than during the week. I don't know why it's like that, but that's just the way that it is. Okay, like I said, sometimes it could be because everybody knows, the sports books know that the weekend, that's when all your casual bettors are going to be betting. So they really critique the lines to make it where it's kind of hard to find value. Okay, but anyway, let's get on to today and let's talk about today's play in the NBA. All right, so what we're going to talk about here is we're going to talk about the Rockets. Alperen Sengun. If that's how you say his name. I don't know. I seem to always butcher his name. But Sengun to go under 40.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Okay? So he has, right now, a 68% probability of this happening. 68% probability. And he is going against one of the worst teams, one of the best teams at guarding the center position. All right? They're going against the Magic tonight. If I am certain they are, they're going against the Magic. So the Magic are the second best versus centers. All right, so if we take a look at this, we got the probability, which is pretty decent, 68%, not too bad. Okay, the number's decently high. All right, he needs 41 to be able to give us an L on that one. And also something to maybe pay attention to is Fred VanVleet, if he's going to play or not. He's being questionable. Obviously, if he doesn't play, this gives a little bit more of a usage for Sengun. If he does play, kind of digresses a little bit, makes this play even sweeter. Okay, so maybe something to look out for, later on in the day is the lineups. That is something you have to pay attention to in the NBA. Okay, because in the NBA, the lineups can get you, especially when you're betting player props. They can get you last minute, especially on unders as well. Because if you're waiting on somebody to see if they're playing, it doesn't look like they're going to play, but then last minute, that player on the team ends up playing, and it just screws things up. So in the NBA, you literally have to wait until the last 30 minutes when the lineups are given out to be able to make certain decisions. Unless a team is, there's no injury designations on the team and it just looks like, everybody's going to play for sure. If that's the way that it goes, then you're okay to fire on some things in the morning. But when there's questionable players and certain players that might have load management or whatever you want to call that, and they end up sitting or something like that, you got to pay attention to that stuff, because that is where the laziness occurs with a lot of sports bettors. Is they get lazy, they'll put their stuff in early, not pay attention later, and guess what? It comes back to bite them because certain players are sitting or certain players are playing, and it hurts the player prop that you bet. So similar to tonight, pay attention to see if Fred VanVleet is going to play or not. I mean, looking at his stats when he does play with Sengun, it doesn't really change too much. Okay, it's not like a drastic difference. So when he does play, there is a little bit less usage for Sengun. And then when he doesn't play, there's a little bit of an elevated usage for him. So it's not crazy change. Okay, and we know Sengun, he could fill up the stat sheet for sure. He's one that could fill up the stat sheet. But the Magic should provide some resistance here. They have a great defense, to be honest. They do. They have a good defense. They're second best against the centers. We got a good probability here. That number is decently high for a center, for sure. A center that's not named Jokic, right? So tonight, Sengun under 40.5 points, rebounds, and assists. This is obviously an alt line. Okay? This is not the line you're going to see. When you open up your sportsbook, the line you're going to see is probably like 34, 35.5. This is an alternate line, okay? You have to dig deep into your sportsbook to be able to find that line. But this is the play that we're rolling with for tonight. 68% probability, going against the second best against centers, under 40.5, Alperen Sengun for the Rockets, alternate line. Throw it down. Let's keep the streak going with the show. I think we've hit like 5 straight on the show. So let's keep that streak going for you guys. As always, I'm Frank the Linemaker Sports. I'll see you guys in the next show.